Alright, so now that we have our UI done for the image uploader, now we're going to move on to adding the dynamic functionality. Basically, there's two things we need to do. We need to create our main JavaScript file, which will interact with the Filedrop plugin for JQuery, and then we need to create the PHP file, which will do the actual uploading and moving of the file. Alright, so let's do the JavaScript first. So if we go to our file structure and go to JS and then main.js. Alright, so we're going to be using JQuery. Alright, so we're going to say in here, put a callback function, and then everything's going to be done from in here. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is define our main div. Alright, so let's take a look at the HTML. Alright, so you can see that this pick box div, this is going to be the main, I guess, the pick box where we're going to drag and drop the images. Okay, so basically this area. Alright, so let's go back to the JavaScript, and we just want to define that. We're going to create a variable called pickbox, and we're going to set that to the ID pickbox using jQuery. Alright, and we're also going to create a variable called back, and we're going to set that to the class back, so dot back, and then we want to add in our pickbox variable. Now what this back, we can see that we have the back as the class for our span, and inside that span we have our image, which basically just has this camera and then a drag and drop image. Now the reason we're using this variable is because when there's a message or when we upload our images, we want this to disappear. Okay, so we just want to see our preview, our image previews, not the background image. So that's why I'm doing this. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the Filedrop API. Okay, so we're going to take our pickbox variable or object and say dot Filedrop. Alright, now inside of here, I'm going to open up some curly braces, and what we're going to do is set some options. Alright, so the first one we're going to call param name. Okay, so basically this is going to be the name of the file in the files array. Alright, so when we post to our PHP file, it's going to be uploaded inside of a files array, which looks like this. Okay, so it's basically a PHP super global. So the name of the file we're going to use is going to be pick. Alright, so we're going to set that. Okay, so comma, and the next one we're going to say is max file size. Alright, and the max file size we're going to set to 2 megabytes. And then we want to set the max amount of files. So we'll say max files, and max files will say 6. Alright, now we want the URL. Okay, so this URL is going to be our PHP file, and it's going to be called upload.php. Okay. Next, we want to create a finished function. All right, so we're going to say upload finished. Okay, so this is going to be a function. Alright, so in here we want to put in file and our response. Alright, so the response is going to be the JSON object that upload.php is going to return. Alright, so right here we're going to say data, pass in the file, and then add class. we're going to add class done. Alright, and then down here we're going to say error function. Alright, so this is basically our error handler. Alright, so we're going to use a switch statement here to switch through the different possible errors. Alright, so the first one, we're going to say case, and this is going to be called browser not supported. So basically this is going to happen if you're using maybe an older browser that doesn't support the Filedrop plugin as well as HTML5 drag and drop functionality. Alright, so you want both of those things. Yeah, and all the modern browsers, the latest version, I believe, support everything that we need. But if it doesn't, we're going to say show message. Okay, so show message. Your browser does not support HTML5 file uploads. Okay. Next, oh, we need to break this. We need to put a break after all of our conditions. Alright, so the next one is going to be too many files. So that's going to be if we try to upload more than what we put here, which is 6. Okay, so let's see. Actually, you know what? This should be a colon or a semicolon. And we're just going to send an alert. And the alert, we'll just say you and over the max number of files. Okay, then we're going to break. I should actually indent these. Alright, so the next one's going to be file too large. Alright, so this is going to be if, in this case, if they tried to upload more than 2 megabytes, then it's going to be too large. And we're just going to set an alert. And we can actually access the file name. Okay, so we can say file.name. And we'll concatenate a message. We'll say it's too big. And please upload a smaller image. And then, of course, we need to set a default. Alright, so the default we're just going to break. Alright, so basically if none of these are an issue, then we're just going to do nothing. Okay, so that's the error handler. And go down here, comma. Alright, so what we're going to do here is create a function that's going to be called before each upload starts. Alright, so say before each and we're going to pass the file into this function. And what we're going to do here is make sure that the file that they upload is an image. Alright, so we'll say if not file.type.match, and in here we're going to use a regular expression to just make sure it's an image. Let's see, we want to match the word image. And if you don't know what a regular expression is, it's basically just filtering out, making sure that it's a certain naming convention. I'd really suggest that you look up JavaScript regular expressions. Okay, so if it's not an image, then we're going to alert, and we'll just say your file is not an image. Okay, and then we're going to return false. Okay, so the next function is going to be called upload start, and basically we're going to pass in file and length. Alright, so what this is going to do is just call another function. It's going to call the create image function, which will take the file as a parameter, and that's it. So next we want progress updated. Let's put a comma here.